How should I deal with my wife's difficult sister who is disrespectful towards me?
Well, you should probably take her to lunch and go talk to her and just be honest with her. Just if she's disrespectful, you say, it seems like you have a problem with me or you don't like me or you did this or you did that. And, I wanted to sit down and understand why. I love your sister. We're family, whether we like it or not. And I want to see what we can do to talk things out. I mean, if she's nasty to you or she's angry at you or whatever, or she's just mean, there's a reason for it. It means she doesn't like you, she doesn't respect you. And so you have to figure out what the hell it is and try to make the peace. And at least as long as you make the attempt, that's all you can do. Because sometimes you're gonna have girlfriends or you're gonna marry into families where you're not gonna see eye to eye with everybody. I mean, it's pretty common for people to have members of their own family that they don't like or see eye to eye with.
Yeah.
But if you got somebody that's constantly disrespecting you, the most important relationship that comes before anything else, kids, family, work, anything, is your relationship with your significant other. That has to be number one. The
Hmm.
kids have to become number two because if you guys are not united and have the same vision for parenting, then the kids are going to use that against you. If they know that mom disagrees with dad, then when dad says no, they go to mom and vice versa. And then the kids end up running the family, and then that just creates resentment and problems. And so, mom and dad need to be on the same page. And a man in a relationship, say the role was reversed, like in this case, say it was the guy's sister doesn't like his girlfriend or his wife,
Yeah.
and so she's nasty to her.
Hmm.
In that case, I mean, the reality is, as a man, all women, all children that are around you are under your protection. And so if it's your girl or your wife or your mother or your kids and somebody in your family is abusing them, it's your job to step in and jerk a knot in the ass to that family member, usually verbally,
Yeah.
that they need to cut it out. Because if they allow abuse to come from their family towards their girl, then she's going to resent it. She's not going to feel safe. She's not going to feel protected. She's not going to feel like he's standing up for her.
Right.
And she's not going to trust his masculine core. And when she doesn't feel safe with him, she's not going to have sex with him.
Yeah.
She's not going to be intimate with him. She's not going to be close to him. She's going to be closed off, and it's going to create distance in their relationship. But if somebody abuses your girl, and then you step in and you make that person that did the wronging fix it,
Yeah.
then you stood up for her. You didn't allow somebody, because if it's a family member or somebody on your side, and you don't stand up for her, she's going to feel like you're picking your family over her, even though
Yeah.
the family may be in the wrong. And so your relationship with your significant other, it's got to be number one. And it
Right.
has to be that way for both people. And if your girl doesn't see eye to eye in that, and she doesn't share that same kind of value system, then you're probably in a relationship with the wrong woman.
Yeah. What if you both, like you, like let's say me and the boyfriend, have tried to do everything possible to fix whoever doesn't like me from his part of the family? Like, what do you do at that point? Because I did have a situation where I was dating a guy and his sister in law didn't really like me. She had her own opinions on me, I guess. And throughout the whole relationship, it caused conflict and an issue because she would always say things to the family about me and to the mom, to the dad, grandma, whatever.
Did he stand up for you to the family?
And yeah, he would. He would tell, like, his father, whatever she's saying, it's untrue, whatever she's saying, don't believe it, don't get influenced by it. But obviously, the more she talks, the more like just issues it would bring. And then it would come in between us where we would argue because I didn't feel comfortable entering the house anymore, going to family events. I want to be my true individual self. And I can't do that if I have someone just throwing so much negative energy towards me. And eventually it did get to the point where we separated.
You left him because you didn't feel safe in his family?
It was like a mutual thing where it was just too many problems over and over and over. And although, I confronted the girl, he confronted the girl. She was like 30 something, which is baffling to me. That's like an older woman, like trying to bash on a younger woman. Um, and although we would try to talk it out, it was like, no, she was very firm on how she felt and her thoughts towards me.
Well, if he's your boyfriend and it basically comes to the point where he's in at an impasse with it was a sister, right?
Sister-in-law,
Sister-in-law.
which isn't blood also, so I'm just
Yeah,
like,
well, the reality is, again, your relationship with him comes first, and if the two of you are on the same page and it's the sister-in-law that's being the jackass, and you both tried making peace with the jackass, and she prefers to be a jackass, then just like they teach you in jujitsu, it's about managing the distance.
yeah,
And so if somebody is not going to treat you the way you want to be treated, it's part of setting and enforcing healthy boundaries. And
mm,
so at that point, you've set the boundaries and she's continuing to violate them. And since she violates the boundaries, then, you're going to manage the distance. You're going to not be around this person. If you're at a family gathering and you absolutely have to be around this person and she starts talking shit, it's like, as the man, it's you might have to get nasty. You might have to say, tell her to shut the fuck up. Don't talk to my girlfriend that way. Don't talk to my wife. You don't like, go fucking sit over there. Get the fuck away from me.
yeah,
And whoever the family member is of mine that's married to her, it's like, you need to control your wife. You need to control your girlfriend. You need to stop this fucking disrespect in
yeah,
my home and in our home and our family. And I'm not going to put up with it. And if he won't put his girlfriend or his wife in place, then you're going to have to manage the distance between that family member. It's like, these things happen.
yeah,
Sometimes you have toxic members of your family, but first and foremost, your relationship with, in this case, your boyfriend needs to come first.
yeah,
And that, if the other people won't treat you the way you want to be treated and accept you the way you want to be accepted, it's like, if you can't accept my girl, then we're not going to have a relationship.
right,
We can send Christmas cards to each other at Christmas time and not see each other anymore
yeah,
until you're ready to act like an adult or treat my girlfriend or my wife or my fiance or whatever with respect.
yeah. Because I think family is really important. Like, you want to feel included because at the end of the day, you're gonna mash together. Like, holidays, birthdays, whatever, grandchildren stuff. Like, we're always going to be around each other. And if it's always going to be negative, then I would rather just not
Well, the
deal
strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. And at
with it.
that
Yeah.
point, if somebody's constantly violating yourself, your boundaries, your dignity, then they're going to get the gift of missing you. And if they don't change their attitude, they're just not going to be around you. They're not going to be around your kids. They're not going to be around your family. They're not coming to your house. You're not doing any joint events with them. It's just
Yeah.
complete separation. You either apologize and make my girlfriend or my wife feel comfortable, or you can go on down the fucking road. And sometimes you gotta tell people like that, and you gotta be nasty about it. And sometimes you don't talk for 6 months or a year or two or whatever,
Yeah.
and that person misses out, and then maybe they grow a little bit and they recognize that you meant what you said. You're not going to allow anybody to beat up on your girl verbally, emotionally,
Right.
mentally. You're just not going to put up with that.
But that would make me feel guilty. I'm like, oh, I don't want I don't want you to be separated from
It
your family.
it's like, it's not your problem, it's their problem.
Yeah.
They're causing the separation because they refuse to treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's us versus them. It's us versus the world. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be teammates. You're supposed to
Right.
have my back. I'm supposed to have yours if you're in a relationship with somebody. And
True.
if you don't, fuck off.
Yeah.
Don't care. I don't care for blood. I don't care if you're my brother or my mom or my uncle or my aunt or whoever. If you're being a cunt to my significant other, it's like, it's not going to last very long, and I'm not going to put up with it.
Yeah.
And I know my own family, I've had plenty of times in the course of my life where I've told members of my family to fuck off, and
Hmm.
I'm in it. And they were in the wrong, they would come back and say they were sorry.
So I've seen this question before. It was like a TikTok thing going on. Um, okay, so how do you explain it? Like, basically, from 1 to 3, which one is the most important between the mom, the children, and the wife? Like, who goes first? Like,
The wife,
the wife. Okay.
the wife,
The second would be,
kids,
and mom is
and then
last.
mom's last. I love you, mom, but you're last.
Really
You're going to
interesting.
bed every night with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife is hopefully sleeping in your bed every night. The kids are sleeping in their own rooms. It's like the
Right.
two of you, your relationship again has to be solid, because if there is division in the marital bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to create division in the house, and the kids are going to exploit that. They're going to use that against you to try to get what they want.
Yeah.
They'll pit you against each other.
People would argue that your mom like brought you here, she created you, so she should be number one. And then
Like
what?
Chunky, we years ago when we were doing some of those videos with Gracie, you talked about that. Is it because his parents had split up, and
Yeah.
he used that against his mom and his dad, a little bit of the adversarial nature of their marriage ending, so
Mm-hmm.
he could get what he want. He exploited it, and
Yeah.
that's what kids do.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's trying to accomplish what he wants to accomplish. If he wants to do something with his friends or whatever, and dad says no, it's like, well, then you can go to mom, and mom says yes. It's like, so depending on what it is, you go to whoever's going to say yes, and then you pit them against each other. And then, the dad gets pissed at the mom because he says, I told him no, and you told him yes.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, it creates problems. And if you're going to live in the same household, it's like at the end of the day, mom and dad got to come to some kind of agreement between the two of them. And then it's the children. And then after the children, you know,
Grandma.
grandma,
Okay.
there's a totem
Interesting.
pole. You're king and your queen. It's like if you're a king of your kingdom, it's like who comes before the queen? Nobody.
Yeah.
The kids, the court, people, like nobody comes between the king and his queen.